Continuing part 3, the story of the scroll, the curve. The 13th of Nissan. On the 13th of Nissan, Ahasuerus and Haman are together drinking the wine. They have dispatched the message with great speed and are rejoicing in the fact that the fate of man now is completely in their hands. When the Jehudim have been eliminated, every remnant of phenomena from another world will have disappeared. Then the individual can be led from the center in accordance with fixed norms. He will no longer react strangely as he has done so far on those very points where important decisions are at issue. Everything would now be sped up on every plane. The future was alluring. It would be a golden future. The city of Shushan was greatly disturbed. There, in the very heart of things, people for the first time hear about the law of development recently passed. Death will come, the end of all life and development. The Jehudim, together with Mordecai, see their end approaching. Even in exile, there will or would be destruction, annihilation. Indeed, every announcement of physical ending rouses this panicky feeling, nolens volens. The body, that which expresses development, evolution, rejects ceasing to live. Its existence is identical with development, evolution, and the Jehudim themselves lived in this evolution, which underlies the possibility to appear in this world. So the Jehudim too are subjected to this fear of this threshold. Why were they so forlorn, they wondered? Could not it yet pass them by? The Jehudi in every man experiences the same thing, experiences it strongly, intensely. For if he had known what was coming, where would he be with his doing things for nothing? The fact is that he does not know, so that he may undergo what God also undergoes when, with creation, the Shekinah comes into this world. The Jehudi too is caught up on his exile. To his mind, as the angel announced it to him before his birth, the end is similarly a downfall, a destruction. It is only beyond that end that he finds back the angel antecedent to his birth, and then he knows everything again. But up to that moment, he drains the cup and can only do things for nothing. The world of the end is a world in which the Jehudi weeps and laments. He too believes in the law of Ahasuerus. He knows, does he not, that everything comes into this world, exists here, according to these laws. The tree that makes the fruit has taught it to him too. Now the exile also reaches its zenith. Everywhere the Jehudi sees his downfall announced. Evolution points that way. A new human being is coming, and this new man seems to want to be able to live deprived of the Jehudi within himself. To the Jehudi, it becomes a horrible world, alien, inhuman, hypersensual, heavily lethargic. Is this what the world is going to be? The Jehudi just tastes his downfall. In such a period of time, there will be no place for him. On account of this fall, the Jehudi gets panicky. How can an individual exist without the Ivri? They say it is possible. They say the God of the Ivri is dead, is asleep, is superannuated. Then what good was the history of mankind so far? The Jehudi wonders. Was it to reach this stage? Shushan, the heart of things, is in confusion. Shushan weeps, is perturbed. The 4 days. The 13th is the first of the 4 days in which the curve is affected. They are the 4 days of the crisis, the first couple preceding the full moon, the latter couple when the moon is waning, hardly perceptible outwardly. The moon during these 4 days seems equally full, but in reality a catastrophe is coming, an enormous reversal. What so far had always been moving in one direction, and which nobody could ever suspect to become different, is now suddenly completely reversed. It rouses a feeling of horror. All that seemed well established now suddenly totters. These 4 days also express what the forever expresses. On these 4 days, a pattern is imprinted on the 4 worlds, the 4 exiles, the 4 elements. That is why there are 4 from the 13th up to and including the 16th of Nissan. Is it strange that the halfway point coincides exactly with midnight, when God descends to Egypt to effect the exodus from Egypt? There too, in the aspect of the Torah, there is a catastrophe. All that did not exist at first does exist now, and whatever did exist now perishes. It is the point of Chatsop, where everything suddenly is reversed. The moon form hardly shows it, but it happens. Of course, it is not strange that the one half of these 4 decisive days in the Megillah should coincide with the half in the story of the redemption with the decisive point there. For indeed, it is God's seal everywhere. It is a pattern of the reversal. Sackcloth and Ashes. Mordecai appears in a new form. He has removed all ostentatious display of the world and makes his appearance as a beggar in torn garments covered with sackcloth and ashes. The Hebrew word for sack in the world of numbers represents the principle of 400, the concept of the infinite time of the exile. The concept we are acquainted with of the time of the exile in Egypt and the value of Pursum Modi, the world of the exile in the story of Esther. The sack is the colorless, the formless, the complete turning away from any display of form in this world. The sack means the withdrawal from this world. The ashes are the expression for the end of anything phenomenal. It is a combustion by time. The word for dust, the substratum of all phenomena here, the 4th element, is related to the word for ashes. The only difference is that in the word for dust, earth, the first letter is the 70, that which refers to multiplicity here. And with ashes, the first letter is the 1, which expresses the very opposite of the 70. The two other letters are the concepts PR, that which expresses fruit, fertility, fecundity, cow, accident, etc. In the word dust, the concept is connected with all that lives here of the 70. In the word ashes, it is connected with what has been gathered in. Whoever lives with the ashes lives with the end of the existence, directs everything towards this end, in fact, lives as if the end is there already. So sackcloth and ashes go together. The torn apparel stands for the breaking up of the unity of the covering. One lives in the awareness of the covering being merely make-believe unity. One shows that one knows it for a fact. When somebody has died, people also tear their clothes. Existence here is not the complete thing. People would then say, it is a sham existence, and the dead body shows us that it is so. The dead one goes to another world we do not know anything about. We did not even know that it actually exists. But at any rate, he shows that this world, at least, is a relative proposition. The veiling is no unity. It does not prove correct. It does not balance. For suddenly, there is that strange, indistinct remainder, death. This is how Mordecai expresses himself on the 13th, and this is how he continues until the 16th. In this quadruplicity, the neshama lives a life of leanness, a life of real exile, and anything that has to do with that neshama lives this lean life. In those 4 days, the whole of the exile is enacted in concentrated form. Why is not this very world with its 4 identical with these 4 days? Does not this whole world enact itself before us exactly at the point of reversal, exactly around that midway point? Is not that the eternal now? Do not these 4 form a unity, and do not they work for us simultaneously, just like the 4 elements? In this condition, Mordecai sits at the gate of the king, and because of it, he is the expression of the redemption in the story of Esther.